Are we ready?
We're ready.
All right. Dad jeans. Dad jeans.
Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm Jeffrey Dinsmore, co-host of Dad Jeans. And yourself?
I'm pleased to meet you. I'm Brendan
Yes.
Hughes. I'm the co-host of Dad Jeans.
Wow, it's crazy that we've never met before. It's
It really
crazy.
is. It really is.
That's crazy.
I'd like to consummate this at some point.
we're both hosting the same podcast at the same time, and I've never met you.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Although, in the 21st century, need we ever meet anyone? Ever?
There is no anyone. There is no body. We are all just a rat in a cage, despite all our rage.
I mean, is friendship needed, or should we just subscribe to each other's brands, outward-facing, client-facing, entrees, and selfies?
That's interesting. I do have friends who I've actually have basically distilled into a brand. Like, who my only interaction with them is liking or having been liked by something that they have posted.
That is pretty. That's is now the question is: should we all be disturbed, or is this just the natural order of things? This is where the human race was headed the whole time. We're going to be selling each other our personalities for profit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's maybe just like this is the end game before the robots come in and take it all over.
Ah, and they get it so that we won't even notice.
Yeah, exactly.
Has
Because
it already
now,
happened?
They'll be swapping. It's like body snatchers. They'll be swapping out. Next week, I'll be talking to facsimile, like Max Headroom style Brendan Hughes. And I won't even notice. It'll be exactly the same thing.
Oh, right. I'll glitch out, but it'll seem like my weird laugh.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no. Well, anyone could glitch out right now in any of our relationships, and no one would think twice because we just blame it on the technology.
Oh, right. Because it's not like we're seeing each other.
No, we're not seeing each other.
This quarantine is perfectly timed because we were poised to bury our heads in the horse's ass of technology fully up to the neck, like in Police Academy 2.
Yes,
for a long time. It's been coming.
I believe actually it's Police Academy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's a joke. That's a gag that they just kept going.
When Steve Guttenberg yells, "Someone call a veterinarian!"
Yeah, which one of my favorite Bill Clinton facts is that he watched those movies over and over and over again. Chelsea Clinton says the Police Academy series was his favorite series of movies.
Want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
That's also true of Emily Topper.
Really?
Yeah. I just found this out. She was like, "Oh, Police Academy." We would always walk down to rent a video, and what would we get? One of the police academies, whichever one was in.
Oh my God. Wow.
Steve
That's
Guttenberg
amazing.
once walked in front of my car at an intersection in Boston carrying a white plastic bag from 7-Eleven.
Carrying a white, that sounds sad. Is that as sad as it sounds?
Well, he had a certain bebop to his gait.
Oh, so he looked like he was having a good day?
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
okay.
Hey, maybe he was buying prophylactics.
It could be. I love that. Steve Guttenberg, the kind of guy who'd just go to the 7-Eleven and buy a box of rubbers.
God bless that guy.
God bless
Yeah,
that
it was right
guy.
on Charles Street. It's where Charles Street meets Beacon Street in Boston. And he was heading towards Cheers.
Oh, wow, really?
Who knows? Oh, who knows? Who knows
Yeah,
what was
okay.
happening
I
in that
see.
particular
I thought-
simulation?
I thought you tailed him. That was my impression of the story.
I could have met him if I nudged him with my car, but and I'm sure that happens to celebrities, but I didn't do it.
But I wonder how often the Goot gets called out. Like, he probably would have been overjoyed if you had been like, Goot!
Right, that's true. God,
Goot,
it
it's
would've been
me,
nice.
Brendan! Goot!
He's probably a great hang if he was like, "Let me tell you about the actual 80s," because
Oh.
no, the 80s didn't happen to anyone but Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah, and I think he's one of those Rick Moranis figures who gave it up at the height of his powers just because he didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, he had a hard look at his pool probably, and he was like, "I could spend more time in that thing if I didn't do so
Yes.
many damn movies."
Yeah, he's like, well, I've done I've done fucking 3 Men and a Baby. I've done 3 Men and a Little Lady. I've done Cocoon. I've done what else? Short Circuit. I've done Short Circuit 2. What else is there in Hollywood
Oh
for
my
me?
God, I didn't realize he was in Cocon as well. That's amazing. So, and the thing is, here's the thing, Jeff. You get $1 million and put it in the bank. 4% of $1 million is $40,000. Anyone can live off of $40,000. So all you need is $1 million to sit in the bank. So once you get $1 million or $2 million, it's $80,000 a year that you can buy canned beans and live your life. Do your thing.
I don't know if it's accurate that anyone could live off of $40,000. That feels a little low to me.
When pressed, trust me. I'll teach you. I'll teach you how. Get a rice cooker and cook everything in it.
Wow.
Hot plate, Bob's your uncle. And then you can be like, now I can read Infinite Jest.
And that's what Goot's doing?
I'm sure he's written a fan sequel.
That's why he was at 7-Eleven. They probably had like a sale on, Advil or something. So he's like, I got to there's two for one today. I got to get my Advil.
It takes 600 milligrams to get through that patois chapter anyway.
Yeah. That is impressive. $40,000, man. I don't know how we just piss our money out the window. We Dinsmores.
Are you preparing for, I hate to talk about something behind you, which is a hated thing of these days, but there's that Santa on the top of the bookshelf behind you. Is that there all year?
There's no Santa on the bookshelf behind me.
Dear God, it's just taunting me. I knew that was in my imagination because it's the world's only actual conspiracy.
Santa?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I put it there for you.
God damn it.
No, I don't know. For some reason, that's just been sitting up there for quite some time, and we haven't decided to take it down, and now it's just become part of the furniture.
Decorative Inertia.
Decorative Inertia. There you go. That's a great title for the episode.
I suppose it is. DI.
So we have two special guests today.
We do.
Which is super exciting to me. The first I'll leave as a surprise. The second, shall we leave as a surprise as well, or do you want to plug him because he has plug worthy materials?
He does indeed. Right. So it's not often, Jeffrey. I almost called you Oscar. Oh yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh
no, you can talk.
Okay. So
what's happening?
This is a rolling break on a college radio station.
and then they launch into some like 40-minute soundscape that you're like, where did this what
Yeah,
what's happening right now?
I wasn't sure about Third Planet when it first came out, and now what's that song by Twink?
Modest Mouse.
Modest Mouse. I was going to say Twink the Twinkles.
I don't know. Twink the Twinkles. That's pretty good.
Modest Mouse set out to be like, we're going to make just ugly music and see who likes it. And it weirdly, paradoxically worked.
Oh, I disagree with that. I think their music is quite gorgeous.
Because they're attempting to make it ugly. Trust me, this is science.
Oh, okay. I hear you. But they have all those watery, like, guitars. That's not an ugly sound.
Oh, right. That's true. Maybe they're putting a hat on a hat by being paradoxical within the paradox.
Yeah.
And putting
like if
beautiful guitars on ugly music equals beautiful music.
If you're talking about the boredoms over here or something like that, or a little bat chain puller by the Captain Beefheart experience, then I might have a different. It might be a different discussion right now.
So
I'm gonna I'm gonna talk over you. I'm gonna undo my headphones.
Okay.
Can you still hear me?
I can.
Okay, because we have a very special guest in the room today.
I'm very excited about this.
Who I wanted to introduce. She of the mommy blogs herself. Shall we start with the theme song?
Oh, yes.
Mommy blog, show me the way. Tell me where I've gone wrong today. Mommy blog.
Mommy blogs of my life. Sarah Cole.
Hello.
In the back room to join us.
I'm here.
Hi, Sarah. It's
Yes.
been a long time.
I know. So happy to be here.
So the reason why I brought her in, we don't have a mommy blog in particular today, but this is maybe she's going to do like a little bit of a guest Spite Club for us, perhaps, or I don't know what she has planned, or if anything, we may just have to ask a lot of questions. But there's Sarah is a part of this this group, the Atwater Village Moms Group.
I can describe it.
You can describe it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then you take it. Take it away.
Dad jeans. Hi, everyone. So Jeff asked me to come on and just chat about this mommy blog that I'm a part of. It's called Atwater Village Moms
Mommy
Group.
community, I guess.
Mommy
you would call
Community.
it, right?
Yeah, it's a Facebook group that's been around for about 10 years. It has over 4,000 members. And it is
No one ever leaves.
a juggernaut of Los Angeles mommy blogosphere, community. So people join it and then they move across the country and across the world and they stay a part of it because it's a really great resource for finding out the best diapers, the best this, the best that. So it has grown into a real community. So it was founded by two members, and I won't name their names. And they are these powerhouses in Los Angeles in their own ways. They're very, politically connected. They're very, active in Los Angeles.
But
And
can I ask, did they become active because of
no,
the
there's
board?
no.
Or they were always...
They have lots of other things spinning in their lives. They're high, these people that can manage and want to manage a 4,000 person Facebook group, plus have little children, plus have full-time jobs. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
But since there's been growing tension on the group around Black Lives Matter and just all the racial injustice and things that have come up in the last it's been growing and brewing, and it definitely came to a head, like many things came to a head recently after George Floyd, and one of the founding members who identifies as Black just really was no longer willing to put up with the other co-founder in terms, and a lot of other members of the board also weren't willing to just kind of she does a lot of good on the group and she does a lot of harm. So balance.
Is she white? The other
yes.
founder is white?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other founder was white, and she, this was a huge deal. She stepped down in the last month from being the co-founder of the group. I mean, and you can imagine the drama that came with that. And of course, we were all, a lot of us were just thrilled because she was no longer really supporting the whole group. She was kind of taking sides and not being unwilling to, when she was being called out on things, being willing to just listen and take it. She would at some point. She's a very sweet person, but I think this reckoning has shown that you can no longer just be a sweet person and be in a leadership role, which was, she got away with just being like a nice person that was trying hard. Hey guys, come to my defense. And that has shifted. And that feels so exciting that someone with that level of power is no longer going to be able to be in those positions anymore. So it was quite a big deal.
Wow. And what is it like long, nasty comment threads that happen and things like that?
Yes, all of that.
And
that. Yes, and she was unwilling to kind of do the labor, they talk about labor a lot in this work of showing up and really moderating the space and creating that safe space. And so it was so funny though, her kind of personality was, there was always some crisis that explained why she couldn't have shown up. So there was never that, gosh, I'm so sorry I let y'all down. I'm the moderator and I wasn't able to be here. She'd be like, I had a, dietary emergency that I have been under my bed for 3 days. But again, that's a fine excuse the first time. The second time and the third time, they're equally. So people started screen sharing, actually the last 3 times we've called you out, you've said, okay, my X thing happened and my bad thing happened. And it would just be the same tired excuses. And they no longer, they know those excuses don't have power anymore. You're not able to show up. So just say that and step aside. So she finally did step aside, and the other moderator stayed on because a lot of people wanted her to leave, as you can imagine.
Yep.
And so she won. It It did feel so good. And then the other moderator brought on 3 other moms. So it's now 4 moms moderating, which again, it's a big group and that needed to happen. And they're, it's a very diverse group of moms and they just have more bandwidth to be able to support. But it's definitely drawn a line in the sand around we're not tolerating racism in this space.
Yeah.
And in some mommy communities, Facebook groups have actually gone under. There's this big one in Upper West Side. I don't know if anyone's heard about it, but similar dynamics that have actually folded because they weren't able to navigate this time. And so I just felt so lucky that I was a part of a community that had a Black woman in leadership, and she was able to be that steady ship in this turbulent time. And she has always been that steady voice in that space. And she was like, all right, enough is enough. And I think they had the drama wasn't really in front of everyone. It was between them offline. They were talking through, hey, how are we going to manage this? So anyway, that's what happened.
Oh, that was incredible.
That was the drama between them, but then there was a lot of like very public fights. Like what do you think if you were to give advice to our mommies and daddies out there in Dad Jeans world, how would you how do you show up as a white person in this kind of space without being a total dick?
I think it connects to some things you've talked in earlier about on Dad Jeans around being willing to say sorry and being willing, willing to be wrong, and that's it, and then just move on. It's so sad that we're so not used to being able to even do that. So then, when these white women, when some of them do show up and say, oh gosh, sorry, they get like 30 likes, people are like, thank you so much. And it's really pretty simple.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a scourge of hapless casual racism. Like there's being like, gee, I wish there weren't racism. And then there's being anti-racist. And there's a major difference in a lot of white leaders are discovering this across the country. I feel like where their leadership and emotional and psychological convenience do not go hand in hand. And unless you're doing what feels icky most of the time, you should not be you're not a leader and you're not in the leadership role.
That's right.
Yeah. And so it sounded like she needs to step outside a long time ago. Like there's this have you listened to the podcast Nice White Parents?
Yeah, I started it. I've been immersed in this for the last, I'd say 2 to 3 years, or maybe even 4 since Hazel ended up going to a, predominantly public school that was, people of color. So I feel like I've done, not that I've done all the work, there's a lot more work that I need to do, but the podcast seems like it's 101. And so I wasn't as engaged with it as I might have been a few years ago. It seemed like I knew all that info, but it's a great podcast.
Right, because you've probably read White Fragility and the Charleston syllabus and all that kind of stuff. Right, yes. So there's so much work for people to do, and it is so easy to trip over your tongue if you're not. We have a lot of work to do, I think.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating. The power dynamics inside of a mommy blog, which is on the one hand a MySQL spreadsheet somewhere in the Facebook servers, and on the other hand, it's 4,000 people's lives.
That's right. And it does become very serious. And then we're also exchanging, recipe tips. So it's it's silly.
Wow.
Yes. And we should also tell our listeners not to read White Fragility, right?
Well,
we're not into that book. That book has been canceled.
I think the new thing we're learning is I'm literally learning things every day. So the latest nugget I've gotten is that when you are learning something about racism from a white person or a non-Black person, you also have to make sure you're crediting and that they're crediting the work and the labor of Black people that have given them this information.
Oh.
So it's a lot of white people learn better for a variety of reasons from white people. The information is easier to take in. The way that it's presented is more palatable, and it's good information. And the work of Black people need to be centered and recognized in that work. So when we say Robin DiAngelo, there's she's standing on the shoulders of many Black scholars and authors that need to be credited and uplifted. And you should put them in your show notes.
Oh yeah,
We can do that.
Idea.
Who should we put in there? We'll come up with a list after the episode.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Okay. Amazing. I think we have to move on to our next segment because we
Thank
actually
you.
have another guest today.
Oh, wow.
Waiting for us. Sarah, thank you for sharing your experience
Thank you for having me.
in the mommy blog of Spear.
Thank you, Sarah. That is an amazing story. And I've always been fascinated by mom groups in general because of how passionate they are and how intense it all is. And
Well,
yeah, that is insane.
It's hard to hear, it's hard to just hear it, I think, but just every day Sarah's reading me something from this mommy this whatever it is, this bulletin board, where it's just outrageous how stupid white people are.
It really is, and I mean, in public.
Yeah, and that's all it is race. Like that's the everything was just fine until they get to race, and then white people are just like
hopeless.
It really is the main issue of our time, if not of American history in general.
Yep.
Like it's just that one place that everything falls apart,
Emily made an entire feature film documentary about how white people can't talk about race.
Oh, so your wife is woke too, I see.
We could all get together and drink caffeine.
Yeah, exactly. And be self-righteous with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
What was her that sounds fascinating. What was her what was that documentary? Oh, it was about her family, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
Is that available anywhere?
No.
I would love to recommend that to our listeners.
It never came out.
Ah, God, it was so
she
good.
Never found distribution. There are many movies that get made that just disappear because no distributor wants it.
Oh, what a sad shame.
Yeah.
Do we bring in our second guest now? Is it time for segment number 2? We have a very special guest today, besides my wife, Sarah Cole. So let's go into our next segment, One Toe in the Cool.
You put your one toe in, then leave it in. You're done.
So I met Michael. His daughter was in Oscar's kindergarten class last year, and now she was in first grade. Now they've been in the same class so far the last 3 years in a row, and they've been over for waffles, and he's a dynamite dude. And he and I, we would drop the kids off and then stand in front of the school and gab for 10 minutes every morning. And he's just very funny. He discovered dad jeans and became a listener and listens every week. And
Amazing.
He is also a musician that just came out with an EP.
Fantastic. How exciting. And I actually listened to his EP and quite liked it. He's got a very, there's like an Elliott Smith vocals with a little bit of maybe like a synthy sort of vibe to it. But super catchy, very indie pop. I'm excited to talk to him about the world of indie pop. Yeah.
So I'm going to add him to our situation here. Oh, yay. Well, hello. I can't quite see you yet, but I can hear you. And that is a fabulous feeling. Oh, now I can hear you. That's great. And Jeff will be with us in a moment. And meanwhile, while we're waiting for him, will you say Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Peter Pecker pecked his own pecker because he had his rib removed to do so.
That's perfect.
Nice.
I'm going to have to now leave that in and explain to our listeners that that's how I sync up every week. That is great.
This is so rude to come in and you fellas are laughing, having a good time already.
We have several inside jokes already, Jeff.
I know, I can tell. I'm already the odd man out.
Hey, Jeff.
Jeffrey Michael,
Hey.
I've been waiting for this
you?
moment.
Yes,
So
me too.
lovely to meet you.
You too. You as well. It's nice to see you. I feel like I know you already, to be honest with you, but it's nice to officially meet you.
You know more of what's happening in my life than my wife, I'm sure, if you listen to that, Cheese. And she's standing 2 feet away from me all day at all times now, so that's pretty impressive.
But you have a little getaway cave there, or is that an office?
This is my. Yeah, it's a. We have like a guest bedroom / office, which is nice. There's a closable door, so I actually have a place to go. I'm very fortunate in that because I don't know how I would be fucking working during this time of children on Zoom and home chaos without having a place to go.
Do they put their fingers under the door, like you can see their fingertips trying to find a way in, like the dead,
like kittens?
Yeah, exactly.
Or more like Jack Nicholson in The Shining over here. I just see the axe come through.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Except it's like it's like a Nerf axe just coming through the door. Michael, I will say I don't know if Brendan has introed you yet, but I listened to your EP and I really liked it a lot.
Right on.
Yeah, I love the last one that you just. Or I'm assuming it's a fairly recent release.
Yeah. Within the last few weeks. Yeah. Oh, thanks so much.
Excellent. Yeah, it's great. It totally hits my sweet spots. I wanted to have a long indie pop conversation with you to see if, because I feel like we may have some of the same musical influences in our lives. So
yes, our musical Venn diagram might actually be close to a perfect circle. But,
yeah,
although
exactly.
probably not the band Perfect Circle, if I'm guessing.
Yeah. No, Perfect Circle is quite on the outside of my perfect circle. Although Tool might dip a toe in there ever so often.
Influence-wise, where does Trout Mask Replica figure in the circle in terms of like your Captain Beefheart, your deep cuts, your whatever? Where is that in the Frankel universe?
That is one of those albums that's like in a weird way seminal, but I don't listen to it very often. But like the ethos of it, like extremely good musicians, like almost sounding like they can barely play, and it's like almost like over rehearsed, like to make sure that every flaw is perfectly like it's one of those where like every couple of years I go back to it and I get a little bit more one layer deeper with it, but never been like a major influence, but I like it in theory.
Yeah. That is actually the best. That actually makes it more interesting to me than anything I have ever read. Like, I feel the same way about it. I'm like, what's happening here? But like what you just said, like rehearsed imperfection is fascinating. Like that's a really interesting concept.
Yeah, it's one of those albums. Like I know we're supposed to like. I'm supposed to like, and there's quite a list of those, and every time I go back to them, I do like them more and more. But I fear I'm just like not evolved enough to to like it. Like it's some Bitches Brew like album where I'm like, all right, I just don't know this math yet. Maybe one day I'll speak this language.
Bitches Brew. I've tried as hard as I can. I've tried. I put it on. I'm like, today, Bitches Brew, and I make it about 8 minutes, but then I'm like, I'm not adequate enough to listen to this.
Yeah, you're not in the right headspace, and you may never be. That may be for a headspace that you'll never achieve. That's kind of scary.
To bring this into parenting just a little bit, I want to confess something to you guys and get your reaction. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with my mom on the phone. And Oscar was lobbing in comments at a pretty high decibel level. And I, at one point, jokingly, but maybe kidding on the square, I looked at him square in the face and I said, "Children should be seen and not heard." And he got a little quiet, and later confessed that I had hurt his feelings a little bit because I think it was the first time he'd ever heard that in his entire life.
Yeah.
As children of the 70s, like if we weren't explicitly told that was certainly like our marching orders,
Right.
I mean, it was so different.
Yeah.
than as we are with our kids now, and that might largely be a good thing, but like that hits close to home, that comment.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if anyone ever actually said that to me, but I quite got the impression with every word I said that you're not here to be heard.
Right. If I have a cigarette and a can of tab in my hand, it's daddy time.
Yeah. Exactly. Which is always. Did your my dad used to drive with an open beer? Is that a common thing in our lives?
That's peak Michigan.
Yeah, that is peak Michigan. Road pops.
Wow.
That's what it was called.
That's what you called him, or that's what he called the beverage?
That's pretty good, actually. That might, yeah, no, that's what the beverage was called. But I like Road Pops as a moniker for my dad. Okay.
My daughter Ivy, who is Oscar's classmate and schoolmate, and now everybody. Well, they're just part of the same Zoomiverse now. But I think she was a little bummed. I told her this morning that I was having a FaceTime play date with Oscar's dad, and I think because she's been asking for an Oscar FaceTime, and I'm like, you're on Zoom all day, like I'm trying to do you a favor here, but
Right.
she's been asking, so
Oh,
she's
nice.
jealous.
Let's do
She's
that.
jealous.
Yeah, here's the crazy thing. We all saw what happened to General Zod in the Superman movies, but they haven't seen that. So they're like, what's wrong with being trapped in a screen that's turning slowly and floating through space? I love that idea.
Oh, fascinating. I like the idea that you can like separate your different Zoom encounters. Like one is a social, like it all feels like the same flat fucking garbage to me, right? But like, yeah, the idea that you've got like you've got like one, like an enjoyable Zoom versus a not enjoyable Zoom. Like there's such a thing. There's like a fun Zoom, a positive Zoom. How do I get to that world?
Yeah, the nuances of Zoom. I work in this department that has shrank quite a bit, like with people being furloughed and then ultimately let go. And so there were like 12 of our little like Brady Bunch squares on the Zoom when we started. And then it's been whittled down to like 4, and then we'll add 1. Anyway, but it's amazing how one person coming and going from like a Zoom can like totally change the dynamic of your Zoom group,
Right,
as
right.
I imagine I'm doing to yours right now by barging in your podcast. But like, it's always amazing to me. Like like somebody comes in and all of a sudden you just like, I don't know, either clam up or you're funnier or whatever it might be. But I've seen that a lot over the last, I don't know, 5 months or whatever day this is. I've lost count of the notches on my bedpost of what day.
That's
it is,
interesting. See, I don't know what time it is right now, but I started a job right before COVID, or right after COVID. So I've never met any of my coworkers in person. So I don't have that like that sensation that they're a real person, that I interacted with before. And I'm like, oh no, here comes Dennis. Like I can't like I can't make that joke in front of Dennis. Like I don't have any of that context, which is super weird because so like everyone, like there isn't that weird like fluctuation in dynamics. It's like everyone is exactly on the same level to me.
Dennis could have a limp.
Yeah, he might. Who knows? I could be talking to like some of these guys could be like 350 pounds and their faces are just slim. And I'm just like, I know nothing.
More pear-shaped?
Yeah, exactly.
This is
Rubenesque.
This is the pear-shaped moment, I feel like. This is people with small heads are like, I was born for this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, looking good.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I worked at this place for like a year, so I developed some relationships, but I could see how people could just be wallpaper, just nothing about them. They're just on your screen.
Totally. Yes, because you don't have that shorthand in which you can like pick apart their flaws. which I think is integral.
Yeah.
And when people are using virtual backgrounds, are you guys like, fuck's going on in that house? Why can't we see?
What are you covering up there?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I was on a Zoom, like a businessy Zoom, and my quasi boss of this particular gig was in his home office, and what I believe to be his wife walked in behind him to use a computer, and he instantly turned on a virtual background, and it made me realize, as soon as his wife came in, I studied as much as I could about who he is based on like she walked by and I was like, so that's the kind of person that he married on the inside. You know what I mean? Like I gathered all the clues, and as if he knew I was doing that, he shut it all down. And then I was like, sorry. I might as well have said sorry out loud.
It'd be amazing if you were talking to someone with their virtual background of like, library books behind them and whatever, and just for some reason it just like failed and the background went away, and then it was just like the Gimp from Pulp Fiction behind them with like it's like the back of the gun store or whatever that was. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, weren't supposed to see that.
Oh, you want to Zoom? Sorry, I'll be back.
I'm not going to name names because this is apparently something that should not be discussed in polite company. But I have a friend who works for a school, and one of the teachers was fired because he left his Zoom on during a break, and he was masturbating in front of his entire class. Yeah. Not good. It was college students, so it not children. So that's a little bit better, but
okay, that is actually relief. So then it's funny.
Yeah.
And it's like legendary.
Yeah, it's not traumatic. I mean, maybe it was. Sure, it could be traumatic.
These Zoomers are doing really weird, kinky shit with each other. So they that's like shaking hands for them to say hello to that. They're all freaks.
Is that you're talking the generation Zoomers, not people on the Zoom?
Oh, that's confusing, isn't it? And I also have this Zoom recorder too. Yeah. This is yes. I meant the generation, but the word Zoom has become far too ubiquitous.
You know what?
Wait, is there really a generation Zoom or no?
That's what these Generation Z people after the millennials. They're now called. They're called Zoomers.
Oh my god, I haven't heard that
for Generation Z. Yeah.
Because I believe our kids are called Generation Alpha. Is that right?
Oh, I like that.
Oh, I love that.
It's like 2010 through 2020 or something like that. I forgot the exact dates, but I think it's Generation Alpha, which is kind of cool and kind of scary.
Do you remember the puppet, the thing that Team America World Police was based on from the 70s, those puppets in the underwater submarine story? That sounds like a Generation Alpha would be the name of those people, those little weird puppets.
Yeah, there's something very Illuminati about it. I was going to just jump in and remark on how weird it is that as we're talking about Zoom, that we've replaced a verb in our discourse. It used to be Skype.
Right.
We have replaced a brand verb or a brand. It's a verb. Yeah.
Gerund.
We've replaced a bland brand verb. Yeah, I don't know. Just like that. It's interesting. What's the next Google? Is there a time when you don't Google things anymore because another brand has come in
and I hope it's even goofier, like Glarch.
Oh God! It took me a long time to be comfortable saying I Googled something.
Yeah, I feel like there's a name for that. Like when like tissue and Kleenex become interchangeable, like the brand and what it is. I feel like there's a business term for that I've long forgotten. But
oh yeah, Novocaine is another one. Vaseline.
Oh yeah,
there you go. Yep. Yeah, you don't use your silicate gel or what? How would one describe Vaseline?
Oh, petroleum jelly. So does that mean it's oil? Does it come from dinosaur bones?
It does.
Jesus Christ.
We are just swimming in dinosaurs. Everything we do.
So
everywhere you go.
So do the asphalt roads. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Jeez, if that meteor hadn't crashed, you guys, we would still be clubbing each other with rocks.
Yep. We may be done with the dinosaurs, but they ain't done with us, brothers. Do we want to talk? So I set this segment up. I'm calling this One Toe in the Cool, just because we need a theme song to designate this this whatever this is that we're doing right now. But as a musician, Michael, you are cool just by nature.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
Second.
So, I mean, I would love to hear, how has your life changed in COVID? Like, first of all, you can't perform. And how much were you performing beforehand? How much of your life is bedroom pop? Like, what's your sort of musicianship world like?
Yeah, I've never been. I used to perform pretty frequently, but for the past, I'd say 5 years, I pop up and do a show maybe 3 times a year, maybe just enough so it's still terrifying, but doesn't the muscle doesn't totally
Right.
atrophy. But I had
Sure.
one show I was gonna do. It was sort of a live stream from a club in town here, and they were going to stream it. It was some new technology they were trying, and I was elected to be a guinea pig for this. And it was going to be on like Facebook and the gram and like everywhere else, like simultaneously. And then that was scheduled, and the plug got pulled that day. Is when Governor Newsom said that bars are no longer open for any operation. So I didn't end up doing that for safety reasons, but yeah, I'm mostly like a bedroom pop guy, I guess. I mean, I have a
Okay.
little like I'm in this little cave here, and it's just with a bunch of music toys, and I'm usually just chipping away at writing songs and recording them in here. But my life hasn't really changed in that way.
Hmm.
I don't have nearly enough time to listen to music, which is a bummer as a fan of,
Yeah.
because I'm homeschooling every minute of the day, it seems. So that part, I mean, that's a whole other. I'm sure there's many segments that will spill over into that
Yeah.
mess. But musically, yeah, not much has changed. I'm still the same Howard Hughes introvert.
What?
I've been social distancing since like 1973, so this isn't like a big change for me.
And are you having your servants hide roast beef sandwiches on you so you can find them over the course of the day?
Or there was I read this or I watched this Brian Wilson documentary once, and he was just talking about like how he built a teepee in his living room, which he lived in basically for like 3 years. And he was like, and the interviewer was like, well, what would you do in the teepee? And he'd be like, I don't know. I'd play with sand, and I'd eat sandwiches.
That is how to do it. That's when you use music to sort of enter into the sort of the unicorn zone.
Yeah.
What's left to do but contemplate sand?
Yeah, exactly. He had nothing better. He had nothing more pressing to do. Brian Wilson.
Gorgeous. God, that genius.
So what is your, can I ask like some music-y questions? Like do you sort of tend to scrap things together, or do songs come out all at once? Like what's your sort of creative process like?
I usually go through quite a few iterations of a song where I come up with some music that's inspiring enough to make like some lyrical thread to, and then I really take a while to chip away at the lyrics, and then over that time, once the lyrics are kind of solid, I try to figure out if it would be best presented as a folky fingerpick song, or more of like a synth pop ish, in an indie way,
Oh, that's
song, or
interesting.
how that is. And so a lot of times, like what ends up being released, like on this EP, those at some point were like a piano song, or a different brand of acoustic song or whatever. And then usually I end up committing to it because I do feel pretty good about it, or I'm like, if I do one more version of this, I'm going to scrap the whole thing entirely. So let me just, cash in my chips
Yeah.
and leave the casino here. So, yeah, I feel like lyrics is what I really like try the hardest with. And then the
Sure.
rest, I try my best, especially as a one-man band, I'm only capable of so much,
Yeah.
You play
I'm
your own instruments, right?
Yeah, I usually play everything, and sometimes a friend will come in and drum, and he'll either replace the drum machine, or some albums I just leave drum machine on there because it sounds cool to me. But yeah, the rest I play. Yeah,
focusing on lyrics, I think, is key, because a cringeworthy lyric can ruin an entire song.
yes,
Right? Like, yeah, there's so many songs that are decent songs, and then you hear that one lyric, and I can't listen to this song anymore.
yeah. I mean, there's so many favorite bands. I'm sure you guys have the same, where the lyrics are such an afterthought, but they're also just, it's more of like not to sound too cheesy, but kind of just the vibe of what's happening, like a My Bloody Valentine, or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever, where like I have no idea what he's saying. I don't really care, but when it comes to like more like singer-songwriter music, or even like better pop music for that matter. I mean, it's every word seems to be it's pretty critical.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and then sometimes people like will like kind of get a little bit far out on a limb with their lyrics where it's questionable, but they have such credit established. You know what I mean? Like at this point, Bob Dylan could kind of read the dictionary and it'd be acceptable.
Right, right. Or Lou Reed can sing "She's Busy Sucking on My Ding Dong," and it sounds cool. You're like, yeah, sucking on a ding dong. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But what about?
Wish I was cool enough to say that.
I know, exactly.
But Beyonce saying "Pay my automobiles."
Bills.
Something that me and Beyonce parted ways for years after that lyric.
See, that for some reason that's like when it's in the weird territory like that, where it's just like so stupid that it kind of is like, oh yeah, that okay, sure, why not? Like there's something about that doesn't bother me quite as much as like just an awkwardly phrased thing, you know,
like concrete jungles where dreams are made of.
Yes, that's awful. That's horrible. Like literally, I don't find that song as exciting and inspirational as everyone else because of that line. I'm just like, oh, nope.
It's a grammar apocalypse in the middle of that thing. It's just
exactly.
It's a dirty bomb of bad grammar.
Because generally, like you can, if you think about it longer, you can come up with an alternative. Like there's no sentence phrase in the English language that has to be set in stone and said that way. Like, you know what I mean? Just like take a little more time. It feels lazy to me if you can't nail the lyric.
Yeah. I just spent all those years with the Chicago Style Manual to listen to that kind of grammar.
Damn right. Damn right. Where are the fuck? What are the commas? Where are the Oxford commas in this lyric?
And so
dangling participles and whatnot.
Yeah.
And lyrics, I've never written lyrics like you guys have. Is it sometimes the vowel series comes first and you just have to sort of wrap them in consonants that make a certain amount of sense?
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I always hear, because I love to listen to songwriters talk about their approach, and they really like widely vary. And I hear like Jeff Tweedy, for example, will talk about, you know, he comes up with a few chords that just kind of catch his ear, and then he just does that like vowel, you know, gobbledygook, and then he'll like listen back to those demos of him doing that, and he'll kind of like try to listen for like what his like subconscious might be trying to, you know, articulate or something, or he'll just come up with some, you know, in his case, more like poetry to go with that ... dash melody, you know, pentameter or whatever you might call that. Yeah.
Cash machine.
There's a really great outtake on one of the Talking Heads put out like a box set of all of their albums a few years ago, like this nice white box, and there's an outtake called Dancing for Money, I think it's called, where David Byrne is just in the studio and he's like, hey, dancing for money. Like he's just like making sounds that will turn into words later. And it's so awesome to listen to.
That's so cool.
Have you seen the bonus features of Stop Making Sense where he interviews himself?
Oh, yeah. So good.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's worth find the DVD somewhere or find this on YouTube. It's him. They did a split screen of him interviewing him, and he's dodging all the questions. Like he's trying to make himself lose the interview, basically. So he asks some question. He's like, "I'll tell you later."
Amazing. I have a couple of music recommendations in this segment. I brought some visuals.
Oh,
I've been buying a lot of records lately. This is like what keeps me happy during these times. This is my favorite record of the summer. A band called Hinds, The Prettiest Curse. This is a Spanish band, and this is the pop jam of the summer. Highly recommended.
Awesome.
Nice. Do you guys mind if I do this? Is
Not
this
at all.
weird
No,
that I'm just launching?
Please.
There's this label called Slumberland. It's like a small indie label, and they just did a thing. Do you know? Are you familiar with the works of Slumberland, Michael?
I am. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. They just did a thing they do a annual sale where they'll sell vinyl for like $5 a record. So I just go in and buy a bunch of shit that I've never heard of. And I found these two amazing jams. This is Brown Recluse. This sounds like Neutral Milk Hotel meets the Shins.
Whoa.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's right in my strike zone.
Yes,
Sure.
totally. Highly recommended. Brown Recluse, Evening Tapestry. And finally, we have Evans the Death, which is a little bit of a Los Campesinos-y kind of vibe. Like it's a little just like some good jump up and down and pump your fist in the air kind of rock and roll.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
I've been getting some extra vinyl during this time too, partly because also my record player from a long time ago finally called the quits and I replaced it, and that inspired me to get a few more things to listen to. But when you buy vinyl now, do you just experiment, like it's kind of like the old school crate digging, or is it like your favorite things you've run across on like Spotify or something, and you're like, this is like not a gamble, I know I want this one?
It's a mix. I have certain artists that I'll just pre-order. Like there's a new Elvis Costello coming out. I just pre-ordered it. I'm like, yeah, I know that I will listen to that record. And then generally, like with this, if they're cheap, sometimes I'll just take a chance. Like I'll go on Bandcamp or whatever if they're having a sale and like just grab some random shit. But no, almost always it's something that I'm like building up my back catalog. Like records I know and love.
Yeah.
How about yourself? Are you a?
I pretty much buy records I know for sure that are already favorites that I just want in my collection, and every once in a while I'll experiment. But are you a Fruit Bats fan? You know that band?
No, I don't know them. Is that they're Australian?
Yeah, they're pretty great.
They're on Sub Pop, and the main guy. It's really just one guy, but his style has changed a bit over the years. But he has an early record I just picked up on vinyl, which is one of my favorites, called Mouthfuls, and it's just great.
Excellent.
It's in that early Shins, Jeff Mangum territory a little bit.
Awesome. That sounds amazing.
That's a good one. And I've been buying a bunch of jazz. I've been on like a real jazz, like reading kick, listening kick. I don't know. Maybe I'm finally evolving with the jazz. I've always liked it as like Sunday morning crossword puzzle stuff, which sounds like very, I don't know, privileged or something.
No, that's us.
But now I'm like really getting into it. And I just read Charles Mingus's book, and now I'm reading Art Pepper's book, which is like 500 pages and 492 of them are about heroin. But it's very, very good. He's quite a writer.
Oh, fantastic. What's the secret? I'm not a jazz, like it is something that I'll put on in the background, and there's certain albums that I'm like, okay, yeah, I can groove with this, but like as a whole, I find it like an intimidating genre. Do you have any tips?
Very. Well, yeah, for me, I feel like one level of like breakthrough with it was like Miles Davis, or like a Kind of Blue kind of record, or something that has like just longer notes, you know what I mean? As opposed to like a lot of Coltrane. I think his nickname was like 1,000 Notes or something like that. But like where it's just flying at you so fast, and it's almost more like agitating than it is soothing or so I kind of found some slower jazz with the longer horn notes, and I found I like a lot of the piano stuff, like the Monk and Bud Powell and a lot of those like stuff I seem to get into. It's got a little bit more of that, I don't know, boppy groove thing. But so yeah,
it's a heroin. You prefer heroin jazz?
Yes, apparently I do. I have to nod off vicariously through my jazz heroes
in the booth, like.
Right.
Yeah, just like you wake up, there's just one note that's been going on for like 20 minutes.
That lean, the heroin lean forward.
Yeah, when the cigarette, reaches my fingertip and starts to burn it, I wake up and
start playing again. It's great. Let me ask you this. So I know that there's a guitar nearby. Would you be willing, as a send off, to give us a tune from your forthcoming EP?
I would be happy to. I hope my okay. All right. Well, let's see. This is a lot different on the EP. It's a little bit more of a rockin' song, but called "He Said, She Said." I'm gonna play it in like more of a finger pick way. Hopefully it comes through. Hold on, I'm starting this over.
Tin can on a string where you can sing your insides out, said the whisper in the lungs of a shout. It only costs a life if you can spare one of your 9, said the yellow in the mouth of a feline. He said, she said, what's your number? Your number's up. And he said, she said, what's the time? Well, your time is up, not soon enough. Sentimental, no, just have a soft spot for the past, said the winner through the tape before the last. I don't remember much, 'cause it all happened very fast, said the broken arm inside of its cast. He said, she said, what's your number? Your number's up. He said, she said, what's the time? Well, your time is up, not soon enough, yeah. And the man to the rabbit in the hat says, pretty please reappear, don't make a scene. And the woman to the saw from a box made of magic, just make it clean. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
All right, Michael, that was fantastic.
Thanks so much. Thanks.
Well done. That is what key is that in?
That is in D minor.
Ah, the saddest key.
I think. Is it?
Is that what they say in Spinal Tap? D minor. It's the saddest key. When he's playing. What are you playing?
You hear that?
This one's called "Lick My Love Pump."
You hear that sustain? You would if it was on. You'd hear the sustain if it was on.
Michael, it is wonderful to have you as part of the Dad Jeans universe.
I'm seriously so thrilled. I've been a fan of this podcast and you guys for a long time, and
oh my god, amazing!
Yeah, I love it. I've gone out to see movies you guys talk about. I've picked up albums that you've mentioned. You name it. I just ordered that KMF. Is that what it was?
Yes,
book
the KLF.
That you were talking about?
Yes.
KLF book,
oh my god,
amazing. Yeah.
Oh, dude,
so
I can't wait to hear what you think of that. Yeah, Brendan told me that you ordered that, which I'm so excited. I'm dying for someone else to read it. So
Yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. Wait, just to be sure though, this is the Kevin and Bean show, right? On K Rock.
Bubba the
What?
love
get-
sponge.
Did
Actually,
I get the wrong Zoom link? I guess.
Boner sound, doing.
yeah. Now we're gonna go throw sandwiches at homeless people after this and record it for fun. Where can tell our listeners where they can hear your music?
It is streaming in all the corners of the internet. You know, Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. I haven't. The last couple releases, I haven't had any like physical product. Unfortunately, nothing like tangible. I would like to have some vinyl at some point. Hopefully, that'll happen. But yeah, streaming everywhere.
Awesome.
And I play under the name Frankel. And this latest batch is called the Big Plans EP. So,
could we just double click on why you play under the name Frankel? Are you at liberty to reveal what's behind that?
I think the NDAs have expired for that. So let me think. When I was a youth, I had quite a bit of orthodontia, and I had to wear a giant retainer called a Frankel, and it was like almost like what like a boxer would wear when he goes in the ring. It was like a giant piece that was like a top retainer, bottom retainer, somehow like clamped my tongue down or something. So I couldn't even talk with it on. I sounded like Kenny from South Park, So I was just like, so I think part of my therapy has been to creatively make music under that name. So,
are all the songs from the point of view of that Frankel device?
Yeah, they're all on the receiving end of some version of torture, for sure.
Well, it's fantastic. Give it a spin, listeners, because filling your house with Michael Orendy's music is a divine weekend day.
That's awesome.
Yes,
Thanks,
absolutely agreed. And you guys know that I'm serious about my music, and I thought it was fantastic, and I can't wait to listen to it more. I did a cursory spin before this, the interview, and I said this is totally up my alley. So I'm excited to hear it in its full glory.
Can I put one of your songs on a mix? I'm part of a CD circle. Are there legal things? Should I slip you a Finny or something or a Sawbuck if I put your song on a mix?
We have to do a gratis contract where you give me $1 just to avoid any potential. No, I'd be flattered. Put me on there.
Excellent.
Thanks.
I'm pressing 12 physical CDs. I just want you to. I want to be upfront about that for the 12 people.
As long as the proceeds go to Oscar's Lego fund, I'm comfortable with this.
Oh God, those fucking Legos. Well, thank you for coming on the air, Michael. It's been excellent to have you.
Absolutely. It's a treat, guys. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
How about that Michael Orendy?
Great guy. What a great guy. What a lovely talk. What did Michael just say at the end there? I was going to comment on something about something. I don't know. Never mind.
How about that guy though? Lovely, right?
Yeah. That was great. It was, he seems like a super nice guy. Totally. We should hang out and jam. Oh, I know what I was going to, comment on is how dare you have a CD club and not make me a part of it?
Oh, I've been trying to get into this fucking thing for years. So here's the thing: it's through Emily. Emily has a month. It's 12 people. Each person has a month, and and we send it
limited.
And I was on the waiting list to get in this CD club for 4 years.
And someone died.
Someone must have died or fucked up and didn't send it or something like that. But it was. Hold on a second. Let's say yes. It's great because we every month we get some new weird shit and get a new mix. You would be a very important part of this, and actually, I would if you'd like to be, I will send. I'd like to get you into the cult. The only thing is, marriages are a little loose in this CD circle, so I don't know how you feel about that.
You know what? As long as I don't have to share my body with anyone. I'm totally into it.
What about? Can you be unconscious?
Yeah. Well, I'm into Tide Podding, so maybe that's how I could.
Great, perfect.
fit into it. Shall we go into our next segment, Spike Club?
Oh, Spike Club.
I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! Spy Club! I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! Spy Club! Fuck!
Our next and final, we're doing a 3-segment episode, Brendan.
Indeed.
This is because I think we've covered everything we need to cover.
Mm-hmm.
No, I have another segment that I proposed, and it may not fit everyone. Probably doesn't fit you as well. We'll talk about it off the air.
Oh, right.
But,
because I was totally stumped by it. But I did come up with one.
You did. Okay, that's good. So we'll fit that into a later episode.
Yeah.
Your children don't watch media, so it's difficult to name something. Your
Right.
child, I mean, my children watch everything that there is to watch. Like if there's a thing, they've seen it.
I'm so jealous.
No, you're not.
You can listen to records.
Not really. Somehow it doesn't work. Somehow it doesn't give me time back when my children are consuming media.
Okay, that's interesting.
But Spike Club, this is where we talk about something that we fucking loathe.
Yeah.
What do you have for us?
Jeff, sometimes you're scrolling through the endless scroll of Instagram, and it's all people being like entree, entree, face, entree, face, entree, and or like, day on the boat. It's just all fucking Bragstagram stupidity.
Right.
And you get to one, and it's somebody's handle is also aspirationally what they do or would like to do for a living. So it'll be like author Jeffrey McGillicuddy or Kaylee acts or something like that, or James Singer or whatever. I don't know, something like that, where it's like, I have this hobby and some people do it for a living and are rich, and I want to be that too. So I'm going to sort of coordinate my entire quote unquote brand in order to be a thing that everyone sees me as. I just am this job, and that's it. I am not a person. I'm just this aspirational, made up unicorn job I probably won't ever be able to get because I'm thinking this way in the first place. So I hate it when people put the job they want to have into their Instagram handle, which is their own personal brand, which I also hate. So like the fusion of personal quote unquote brand with aspirational job that they want to be part of how they're quote unquote known is peak evil American capitalism and makes me want to defenestrate myself. End of rant.
Interesting. Do you find this on? See, I'm not an Instagrammer. I don't work in that milieu. I don't know what's happening over there. Is this a strictly Instagram phenomenon?
Yes, I think it is. I mean, there might be TikTokers who do the same thing, but and maybe there are even Twitter handles of people who are like, "This is where I tweet about." What they're trying to do a lot. This is one guy who's a director, and he's always tweeting pictures of, or rather, Instagramming pictures of things like camera dolly carts and stuff like that. Now, if he were a director of photography, that would be one thing, but it's more just like set life. I'm a filmmaker, but he's not. It's not his. I don't know. It's just so stupid. It's like fucking plumbers Instagramming pictures of copper pipes. You know what I mean?
Right.
They don't. No one gives a shit.
No one gives a shit.
No one gives a shit.
It's just like everyone's hunting for a niche. Is that what it is?
I get, it's something. And like, how can I monetize my personality and fuse it like a cyborg with my wannabe job?
Like, I could just start I could be the guy who takes pictures of like tangled wires.
Right.
Everyone's got those. Like, let's just start check in with the tangled wires guy.
Yeah. I know one guy who Instagrams just pictures of dead animals he sees on the streets of New York.
Wow. It's just such a, I mean, it's such a low aspiration. I guess it's like a collection, right? It's like collecting something. That's your, I'm just like, I mean, that's cool. I would have that. You need those kinds of things on your feed for color, right? Like you could just get like, oh, the dead animals guy is back again. But just to like, for that to be your thing. And then you start like walking through life looking for the dead animals. Just kind of depressing.
It is. Yeah.
Like we have this like, oh, this is it's a hobby. That counts as a hobby now.
Although I wonder if that guy, this might be a form of performance art, because then there's sort of this mocking performance art thing that happens on Instagram too. That guy is the keyboardist of the band Child Abuse, which is a punk band in New York that you can't Google. Like, they're so punk They're like,
Right.
You can't Google us. We're called child abuse.
That's pretty good.
So he might be just sort of doing this out of just being that metal.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I mean, but it's just an interesting, like, I guess, like in the past, before we had this share service, he'd be going out with his Polaroid and taking pictures of dead animals, and then they just sit in a shoebox, which is maybe far more disturbing.
Oh, right. That's a really good point. Rather than incessantly sharing them with everybody. That's or shooting them with a little 8mm film and then projecting them on the ceiling over their shows.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
My Spite Club is we haven't talked politics this week, which is so refreshing, I'm sure, to our listeners. But I will talk politics right now, kind of. My pet peeve, my Spite Club, is 2020 jokes. Like there's that meme that went around that was like January, February, March, April, and it was like one actress just like getting like more harried like in each picture,
and managing to publish 12 pictures of herself in one.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Or
and promote her career.
Yeah. Or like the joke structure, like who had killer squids on their 2020 bingo card? Everybody.
Right.
Like just like jokes about how awful this year is. I mean, I get it, but it doesn't. It brings me no joy to read those jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe like as I thought about this, I was like, why do I hate this so much? It's maybe like just joke structures in general, like feel so lazy. Like hold my beer, like
hold my beer.
Just like any joke structure that becomes something that people say, like it just stops being a joke. It's not funny. It's not funny anymore if everyone is making the same joke.
It becomes
a variation on the same joke.
It becomes a subreddit.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Like it's the first time you see it, it's like, haha, that's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just people like play with it. Like they always, what's the other thing on Twitter that people do that just drives me up a fucking wall when it's like, or like I was this many years old when I learned some interesting fact.
Today years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Like it just, there's something about like,
It should belong to the one person who said it the first time, so you can be like, that is quite droll, you raconteur.
Yes, maybe that's it. It's like don't steal brands.
Yeah, it's stealing.
We're talking about brands. You're stealing someone's
a joke.
brand,
and it normalizes theft of wit.
Yeah.
So that we're all witty now, I guess, without having to actually generate any wit.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's like sort of like general opinions feel that way to me. Like I often will encounter people who consider themselves quite well versed in politics, and everything they say is something that they've heard on a show. Like it's not.
Yep.
They don't take the information and process it and come back with something new. It's like, here's this information I heard on a show today. This is outrageous.
Right. And they become a victim. We're all kind of, therefore, the victim of our last conversation.
Is that it?
It could. And so what we should be doing is everyone sits down, they'll read all the horribleness, and they write 3 paragraphs about how they feel. And that is the source to which they go. That's the well of pithy statements for the day. It's not the thing that the other person said.
Yes,
et cetera, et cetera.
I would so prefer that.
Yeah, it's less of an echo chamber.
I see such little original thought out there. Like,
yeah, I have a small counterpoint for you. Which is that that very dearly departed Chadwick Boseman passed, and that is very sad. And Chuck Schumer retweeted the announcement of his death and simply said, "This is Senator Chuck Schumer," and simply said, "Seriously, fuck 2020."
No, really?
Yeah, isn't that great?
Wow.
Because Chadwick Boseman died, which I think is pretty awesome.
Wow.
So I guess it's okay if Senate minority leaders say it and things like that,
Yeah, okay, maybe there's something to that.
But only them, but not us regulars, not us schmo civilians. We have to come up with shit. It's our duty as Americans within the American experiment, as you were saying, to generate wit.
Yes, that is your sole function here. If you're going to participate in this ecosphere, maybe there could be some kind of a the problem. Perhaps on Facebook, they're trying to figure out how to shut down political speech or disinformation. maybe you just need to find some algorithm that tells you if someone else has already said that thing. And if someone else has already said it, just don't let that post.
So it's
exist.
original shit only. That would be that would be a really cool. There's a lot of policing of that on Reddit, actually. Now that I think about it. And what happens often if you're dealing with a smart person or an artist or somebody like that, when there's a crackdown, be it for good or for ill, on political speech, it just becomes Guernica or some shit. It just becomes like it morphs into some like very witty new form of expression.
Sure.
So maybe it would be a good thing if we said no one is allowed to cash in on another person's joke for the rest of American time.
Nope. You're done. One guy gets the opportunity to do it.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure I've been guilty of this, and I have to have a hard look in the mirror.
Wow. Singlethought.com. Can we buy that?
Oh, yeah.
Onethought.com. It'll be taken over by alt-writers somehow.
Instantly.
Brendan, I feel like this is a good winding down. We're at the 9 o'clock hour. We're on the 9s and the 5s, and we've gone past the 5s.
We got to do traffic.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna do some Dad Jeans traffic report.
Weather and traffic on the 9s and 5s. What a boring radio station if they're doing weather and traffic on every 9 and every 5. Jesus H, shut up.
You know what? That's when I am needing information is the 9s and the 5s. So it works for me.
Can't wait for the 5. It's been it's been 4.5 minutes. When are they going to do weather and traffic?
No information. I need it. All right, Brendan. Lovely to see you.
Always.
Lovely to converse.
Until the future, goddammit.
Until a biento, sir.
Tout à l'heure.
Hey!